I love roller coasters, so this is going to be ranking every U.S. state by how much I want to ride their first roller coaster pictured on Google. I Googled roller coaster in each state name and used the first image. The list will only include 49 states because Hawaii doesn't have any coasters. 49, Connecticut. Obviously, this one is a ride for toddlers, so for a grown adult, this would not be very fun. 48, North Dakota. Same thing, this one just looks slightly better than the last one. 47, Delaware. This one looks somewhat decent, but it's clearly a fair ride, and as much as I love any type of roller coaster, I also love life, and going on a fair ride, you risk losing that. 46, Alaska. Again, we've got a fair ride, but this one looks a little more sturdy than the last one. Still risky, but better. 45, West Virginia, another clear kids ride, and wooden roller coasters have you shaking all over the place. I'm willing to deal with that for a fast thrill ride, but I'm not trying to feel like I'm having a seizure for a hill this small. 44, Maine. I could be wrong because this image is so zoomed in, but this kind of looks like a kid's coaster to me, especially with the two very small children in the front row, so gotta knock it out here. 43, New Hampshire. Same thing, could be a little larger, but looks like a kid's ride, especially with these cars, but does look a little bit smoother than the last one. 42, Wyoming. This one looks like you'd feel very claustrophobic. It's like you're trapped inside a stroller, and the looks on their faces tell me that this ride doesn't go very fast. 41, Rhode Island, this little backyard coaster. It made it this far because I think it would be a really unique experience, but I gotta knock it out because I like thrill rides and there's no way this thing goes that fast. 40, Indiana, another backyard coaster, so that would be a unique experience, and this sucker somehow goes upside down, so that would be wild, but still, this just can't compete with the big coasters we're gonna see in this series. 39, Maryland, doesn't look bad, just one of the smaller ones left. 38, Oklahoma. Now, you can't see a ton of this ride, but it doesn't look overly large or fast, so I'm not super interested in it. 37, Nebraska. I mean, it's okay, but I like thrill rides, and to be completely honest, this one just looks pretty boring. 36, South Carolina. Now, I will ride any roller coaster, including wooden ones, but these things shake so much, and they're uncomfortable, so if I'm going to rank it high on the list, it better be worth it and have a huge hill and be super fast. This one doesn't look like that, so I don't think it's worth the headache I'm going to have when I get off. 35, Montana, another wooden one. Again, I'll totally ride it, but it's going to be lower on the list because I don't know if it's worth the literal headache I'm going to get afterwards. Same thing, 34, Washington. We will see plenty of wooden ones in this series that look like they're worth the pain, but this one isn't it. 33, Oregon. I like how steep it is, but it's not very tall, so not going to be overly interesting. 32, Vermont. Now, I think it'd be a pretty cool experience to ride one of these alpine mountain coasters, but you gotta remember, these things are competing with high-speed thrill rides, and these just can't compare to that. 31, Georgia. The next one in our run of these types of coasters just looks slightly better than the last one. 30, Tennessee. The fencing and the look on these people's faces make me think this one's a little bit faster than the last two. And the last one of these, 29, North Carolina. This curve looks like a blast. Hear me out, I'm sure these types of coasters are a lot of fun and offer great views, but I'd rather be going straight down a 200-foot drop at 70 miles an hour, so that's why I gotta knock them out here. 28, Massachusetts, solid, just looks like your typical roller coaster. 27, Nevada, this one could be bigger than it appears in this picture, but looks decent. 26, New York, another typical looking coaster, but at least it goes upside down. 25, Alabama. This looks like one of the rare wooden coasters that's worth the pain. A fun little drop that curves right at the bottom and goes all over the place afterwards. 24, Utah. The straight up and straight down portion of this one seem amazing, but I gotta eliminate it here because it seems like it's not very tall. 23, Iowa. Now, the design of the car tells me that it's not super tall and super fast, but it's got a lot of twists and turns, so it would be a pretty fun ride. 22, Pennsylvania, maybe would have been a little higher if it were more zoomed out and I could see more of the ride, but it still seems like it'd be a good thrill ride. 21, Arizona, doesn't look super tall, but seems like it would be a blast because you're going upside down and on your side a lot. 20, Michigan, looks very thrilling, lots of twists and turns, just wish it were a little taller. 19, Wisconsin, nothing crazy about this one, but I think it's really cool because you go underground at the bottom of the hill. 18 is Florida. Now, I hate that this is from this angle because I think this is the ride at SeaWorld, which I've heard great things about, but I'm just going to have to base it on what I see. And based on the angle they're sitting at, it looks like it'd be very thrilling, but again, wish I could see more. 17, Colorado. It's definitely one of the shortest ones left, but it deserved to be this high on the list because look at that drop. You literally almost go upside down as you're going downhill. That would be sick. 16, Mississippi, obviously very tall, probably pretty fast, but the issue with this one is, it's in Minnesota. But I said I was using the first image on Google, and this is what they gave me, so that's what I went with. So shout out to Minnesota for getting Mississippi this high on the list. 15, Minnesota, the same one, except this is the state it's actually in. Looks like a lot of fun, especially the extra hills after the main drop. 14, Kansas, another pretty tall one that looks like it'd be fast. 13, California. I love the incline on this one as you go straight up, and I imagine that it would hold you here for a second and make you look over the ledge, so that seems like it'd be a lot of fun. 12, Louisiana, not overly tall, but you definitely go upside down a lot on this one, and it's one of those where your feet dangle, and I love those kinds. 11, Kentucky, just looks like a really good wooden roller coaster, a pretty big hill, a bunch of secondary hills afterwards. This one will be a blast. 10, Idaho, another wooden one that looks massive and got a ton of hills and turns in it. 9, South Dakota, this first drop just looks phenomenal. 8, New Mexico, I love that you are literally turning as you're going straight down the hill. That would be awesome. 7, Texas, I think this one is still being built, but the initial hill looks insane, and I think it's one of the ones that holds you out over the ledge and waits at the top. That would be a blast. Number 6 is Arkansas. This is just super unique. I love how it goes straight up, and then you're immediately upside down at the top of the hill. Number 5 is Ohio. Now, I wish it were a more zoomed out photo because I'm not entirely sure what's going on here, but I still love it. I assume this takes you straight up and spins you all around and then drops you back down backwards, and that would be incredible. Number 4, Virginia. This one speaks for itself. It's absolutely gigantic, and I'm sure you're going down that hill at a very high speed. Number 3, Missouri. One of the coolest wooden roller coasters I've ever seen. Obviously very tall, and look at that drop. It is literally straight down. Number 2, Illinois. This thing just looks phenomenal. A massive and steep drop, a ton of extra hills and twists and turns. And number 1, New Jersey. Never been here, but I believe it shoots you out at a super high speed, straight up, straight down that hill, and then back around. I want to go on this one.